Hello, and welcome back to Attack on Titan Enthusiast. In every story, there'll be some events that are only hinted at, and we never get to actually see them happen ourselves. There are plenty of these in Attack on Titan as well, especially because this story likes to hint at things a lot. So, in this video, we'll be ranking the top 8 moments fans wish they could have seen more of. This is based on surveys done in the past in Japan, and comments they received. Please be aware, this video contains spoilers up to the final chapter of the manga. Number 8. King Fritz building the walls. The walls built on Parody Island protected the humans there for over 100 years. After the Great Titan War, King Fritz the 145th decided to take some Eldians with him and retreat to Parody Island. There, he built the walls, Maria, Rose, and Cena, and erased all the memories of the outside world from the Eldians who had followed him. The story goes into detail about the vow-renouncing war, and the peace he tried to create with it, but there's no scenes of him actually building the wall, so how he did it is left up to our imaginations. This may have been the last time that a true king correctly wielded the power of the founding Titan. I think it would be pretty cool if they made an OVA or something that went into more detail about his life and showed how he built the walls and erased everyone's memories. They say that a lot of people died during the migration to Parody Island too, so I'd like to know what happened there. There were a lot of other parts of the story I'm more curious about, so I can understand this one being ranked so low on the list. Number 7. Zeke vs. Reiner. Zeke is the Beast Titan and the Warrior Chief of Marley, and Reiner is the Armored Titan, one of the warriors under Zeke. Both of these characters seemed very strong when they first appeared, and it didn't seem like anyone could beat them. In the beginning of the story, it seems like the Colossal Titan and Armored Titan are the main antagonists, while the Beast Titan was so unpredictable, it only confused us. Eventually, we find out that they're all on the same side, and we see the Armored Titan, which at that point still seemed OP, lying on the floor with its face cracked after losing to the Beast Titan. So, without even showing the fight, we all thought that the Beast Titan was super OP. However, around the start of the Marley arc, it's pretty clear that the Beast Titan is not suited for close combat, so once it loses its range advantage, it's probably one of the weakest among the 9 Titans. When he ends up in the unfortunate situation of having to fight off Levi, he gets defeated really quickly, so people no longer viewed him as a strong character. But to be fair, there aren't many characters that can last much longer than that against Levi. So, how did the Armored Titan lose in a fight against him? I would think he'd have the advantage if he managed to get close, but Zeke could use hardening too. Maybe those holes we see on the Armored Titan after the battle weren't from Zeke throwing rocks at him, but from him hardening his fingers and then grabbing him. Reiner did almost lose to Eren's grappling techniques, and he didn't even have hardening at the time. Later on, there are much more difficult battles, so it doesn't mean that much now. But I think it would have been pretty cool if we would have saw that fight around the ending of the 2nd season of the anime. Number 6. The expedition outside the walls in the 1st chapter. In the very beginning of the story, we see the scouts on horseback and then switching to their gear to attack the Titans. It seems like there were a lot of people who wanted to see the entire expedition outside the walls that happened at that time. The expedition that Eren took place in was basically in easy mode compared to that one, because Eren had the power of the Attack Titan, and Commander Erwin had already implemented the long-distance scouting formation, which greatly reduced casualties. In the OVA, No Regrets, where Levi's the main character, we see what the usual expeditions are like before Erwin became commander. They tried to fight off the Titans that appeared in front of them, and lots of people died. Moses was a squad leader like Erwin, and was definitely a talented soldier. Keith Shaddis also retired, leaving Erwin as the commander not long after this. So I'd like to see just how wrong everything went on this expedition for someone like Moses to die and Keith to quit. Number 5. How Grisha reached the walls. Grisha inherited the power of the Attack Titan, and was found outside the wall by Keith Shadis and succeeded in getting him to lead him inside. He had lost all his friends from the Eldian restorationists. The ship he came in was destroyed by Kruger, and we all know the first transformation doesn't go well. There's no way that he made it to the wall right after inheriting the Attack Titan. The only time we see him transform is when he's fighting Frieda, and that definitely wasn't his second time becoming a Titan his whole life. I think he spent a lot of time outside the walls, and it was no coincidence that Keith Shadis found him. There are tons of Titans on the island, so he probably had to get used to his Titan powers while stealthily scavenging around outside most of the time. I bet it would have been pretty interesting to see that in more detail. Number 4. What the warriors did after the first chapter. We know that while destroying the wall, Reiner, Bertolt, and Annie all used their Titan forms. So how did they escape after abandoning their Titans? I doubt they went through the hole they just made, because there's no way they would have made it to the ships before they all left. We see Bertolt almost get eaten by Dinah after he comes out of the Colossal Titan. So, that time after transformation is extremely vulnerable for them. We still don't know exactly how they managed to escape without getting eaten. Maybe they climbed on Reiner, and then Reiner climbed up the wall, and then they just ran around the wall to an area where the Titans hadn't gotten into yet. Ymir also probably got inside through the holes they made in the wall, but she'd have a similar problem. Seeing this point in time from Ymir's perspective would also be cool. Number 3. The Great Titan War. The Great Titan War took place after the Eldian Empire had conquered the entire continent, wielding the power of the Titans. There was no other country that could stand against them, and eventually, internal conflicts developed into a war between the nations of the Empire. It's said that noble families of the Eldian Empire controlled the powers of the 9 Titans at this time. If the heirs of these Titans had royal blood like Zeke, they could have had their own Titan troops, even without inheriting the founding Titan. I think it would have been really cool if we were able to see these Titan-on-Titan battles, not to mention the battles between the heirs to the 9 Titans. At this point, the only noble family left from the Eldian Empire is the Tiber family, who's had control of the Warhammer Titan for generations, since the Marleyan hero was just a normal human that King Fritz had chosen. I wonder what he really did to stop the Titan War and destroy all the noble families. Number 2. Everyone's memories of talking to Eren in the Coordinate. Eren tried to use the founding Titan to destroy all humans except for those on his island. His goal was to focus all of the world's hatred onto himself and have his friends kill him so that the world would no longer want to destroy Paradis Island. Eren's plan was definitely crazy, but he was never actually evil. And after he died, memories he had sealed away came back to Armin and all of his other friends. He had talked to them through the power of the Coordinate and told them all his plan and his true feelings. We got to see the conversation he had with Armin, but it would have been cool to see the conversations he had with his other friends too. From what we see of their reactions, we know that he told Connie that his mom would be human again. He told Annie to live a long life. And he told Reiner and John that he was going to sacrifice himself. It didn't look like he said anything to Levi. Number 1. The 57th Exterior Expedition from Annie's perspective. This one surprised me. I guess a lot of people in this survey really liked Annie. I think this expedition would have went pretty well if not for the attack from the female Titan. After seeing the action she takes after she wakes up, a lot of people wondered what she must have been going through internally during this expedition. Near the end of the story, it's hard to say who was right, since she was trying to stop the rumbling. Does that justify what she did? A lot of people would like to know how complicated it was for Annie to try and take Eren by herself and fight against people who thought she was their ally. Since Annie also managed to survive until the end, it'd be cool if she was the narrator of an episode, and we could see her point of view during and after the 57th expedition. Alright, that's all we have for this video. Is there any point in the story you wish we had more details or scenes about? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you again in the next video.